I'm Gregg Rosen, and I'm a managing partner of Paromi Tea, and I'm from St. Thomas.
I'm Paul, founder, managing partner at Paromi Tea. The foundation of the company and the interest was really growing up drinking Bush tea in St. Thomas. So Bush tea was a big influence, and also a lot of our local tennis tournaments were at hotels and resorts, and a lot of them had tea times. And I remember in particular playing at Canal Bay in St. John, and we would go out, and after the match I'd go up to their tea time, which they don't let you do anymore. They ran me off last time I was there, so let me back in if you hear me. But anyway, I'd crash at tea times there, and I'd steal all the scones, and I always thought, hey, this is pretty fun, you know. You have good food here, and then tea, and that was really where the exploration began. And then traveling all over the world playing tennis and experiencing tea in different countries really excited my palate for tea. And if you fast forward a little bit to college, I owned pretty much every brand of tea that you can buy in a specialty food store or a grocery store. And I was always disappointed because tea was very cheap. It still is very cheap. Prices really haven't changed that much in the last 20 years, which is not good for some producers. But there's always that void where I'd say, okay, this looks good. I'd buy 4 or 5 boxes of tea, and it would never translate at home. And I started going to this Chinese tea house in Arizona with a friend of mine. It turns out that the owner travels to China every year, met his wife in a tea garden, fell in love with her, brought her back to the States. So I ended up studying with her for about 4 years, and I learned a lot about whole leaf teas, and that's really where I took it to the next level, and my interest for starting a business developed in Arizona.
It's one thing to be interested in, in a food or beverage, but it's certainly an entirely different thing to want to start a business around that interest. So, I think initially it was a bit surprising. But then again, he was pretty passionate about it and was pretty convinced that the market was missing the kind of experience that he was, hoping to introduce.
In all honesty, you make Bush tea in St. Thomas, so it can be a combination of many things. But when you cook straight up lemongrass, it tastes nice, right? You maybe put some fresh ginger, it tastes nice. When you buy a paper tea bag in a grocery store and you make the tea, it doesn't taste that great. So when you compare the two, and that's the same thing so I took Bush tea and I experienced full leaf teas. So when you rip open a paper tea bag and you pour the tea in your hand, it's dust. So a lot of it dries out, it loses the health benefits. You don't have the same body, you don't have the same appeal that you do with a full leaf tea. So with full leaf teas and the fresh herbs, you get more essential oils, more health benefits, more complexity, better mouthfeel. You get a much better package. So that's really what drove my excitement for tea and launching this company. I was disappointed what was on grocery store shelves. So I wanted to launch a better product. And I saw a lot of companies. I saw there was an opportunity. We're a grab and go culture, and I saw a lot of people maybe not going towards loose tea 5-6 years ago, but an alternative was our full leaf sachet. So our teas come in a pyramid sachet that allows for loose leaf tea. So with that, you get the loose leaf experience on the go. And I said, you know what, this is a good opportunity. There are maybe 2 or 3 companies right now that are packaging like this, that are serving the tea like this, but they were marketing their products as this premium product, but they put junk in their tea bags. So I said, I want to start a company. I want to put whole leaf teas, blend in small batches, no expenses spared. I don't want any expenses spared. I want the end consumer to enjoy tea. I want to bring tea back. I don't want people to say, hey, tea is just for when you're sick, or I only drink it for this. I want drink it because it tastes good. Drink it because it's healthy for you. It's been around for thousands of years.
I was in business school sort of midway through, and the company at that point had moved beyond the idea phase into having a real product, having some customers already, starting to become a business, having some real problems, having some real opportunities, and at that point, sort of being midway through business school, it really piqued my interest because a lot of what I was learning in the classroom and a lot of the conversations we were having in business school, involved the kind of things that Paul was seeing.
Day one, I did production, got our first production batch, and a friend of mine that was actually working at the Ritz-Carlton in St. Thomas at the spa said, "Hey, we're having a spa meeting. Do you want me to bring up your tea in the meeting to the manager?" I said, "Of course." So the Ritz-Carlton St. Thomas spa was our first account. And then from there, we got into Dean and DeLuca's in DC, then we got into the one here in New York, and then the rest of them around the country. And then from Dean and DeLuca's, we started picking up more specialty food stores. And finally, Whole Foods in the Mid-Atlantic region brought us in, and that was huge. We started with a handful of stores, and then after year one, our sales were so good that they took us to the entire region. And then from there, we grew to other regions, and now we work with 9 out of the 11 regions of Whole Foods. We also have other national accounts like the Fresh Market, Earth Fare, and a bunch of small regional chains. So it's really blossomed. Really, since Greg came on, we decided, hey, let's take this company from where it is now to the next level. And we've exploded in the last 2 years with growth, which is great. And we're expanding now to the Nordic countries. We have a new partner over there that we're excited about. So it's really, things are blossoming. So we're excited, and it's a dream come true. You work so hard for so many years, and then finally, the pieces start coming together, and then you're still sweating and working your butt off, but it becomes more rewarding when you can sit back and you actually start to see people, when you talk to them, like, what do you do? Oh, I have a tea company, and what's the name? And for the last 5-6 years, you say the name, like, oh, I haven't heard about it. But now you start talking and people are like, oh my God, I have that. That's your company. It's like, it's a really cool feeling that it's growing so much, and it's been a positive few years. My roots are in St. Thomas. I think both of us feel that that's our home. That'll always be our home, no matter where we are in the world. And I think Nike has one of the best taglines, "Just do it." Sometimes you just have to dive into something and learn on the way. And take every tool that you can get, learn from people, ask a lot of questions, and do what you're passionate about.
I don't think either of us, if you had asked us 10 years ago, would we be in the tea business? For sure, I wouldn't have said yes, and I doubt Paul would have said yes as well, even though he was an avid tea drinker. So I think keeping an open mind is definitely key, and I think for us, when you meet new people, it usually doesn't take very long in the conversation to come to the topic of where are you from, and that's always a fun part of the conversation for me, because I get the wow factor, and a lot of times I'm the only person or the first person that individual has met from the Virgin Islands, and so it's fun to have that background and to be able to talk about the Virgin Islands and share that experience, of what it was like to grow up there and to continue to call it home with new people. And the fact that we're in the tea business right now, it's always interesting for people to try to connect those dots, and yeah, it's just exciting. And I think some people are in awe that a couple of brothers from the Virgin Islands are now running a tea business in the United States, and I think it just shows that anything really is possible. And